If United States of America attacks Iran, will Russia respond? And if yes, does Russia have even the capability to protect Iran? And how this regional disturbances, or more specifically, you can say the internal disturbances of Iran, is spilling over and have potential to engulf entire West Asian region and even possibly entire world. And in the Iran equation, are we seeing a political confrontation, diplomatic confrontation between the two superpowers, that is US and Russia? So let us try to decode and analyze this geopolitical conflict in more detail. To give you background of this particular topic, recently Donald Trump, in his known style, posted on his favorite social media platform, that is Truth Social. In this social media platform, he actually tried to encourage protesters in Iran who were not happy with the government as such, who were demanding a change in the regime led by the Ayatollahs of Iran. And there you can see Trump has stated, take over your institutions. Not in that, he also has asked Iran people and have comforted them that do not worry about the repercussions as help is on its way. Trump also gave a chilling warning to the government of Iran, stating that if protesters are killed or if they are executed, publicly hanged, US will have no other option but to respond, and they will respond in the well-known manner as such. Here they also has written his slogan called as MAGA. You know that he is known for this movement called as MAGA in USA, which just stand for Make America Great Again. So on the same line, he also has encouraged people of Iran to make Iran great again as such. It is in this context we have to understand the response of Russia. We have seen the report, the statement being released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia, where it has clearly warned that any US military strikes or action against Iran will be unwanted in nature. It will be akin to external interference, which obviously is non-acceptable as far as the rule-based international order is concerned. But that is the irony, because when we talk about rule-based international order, both of these countries have not shied from violating the sovereignty and integrity of other country, whether it is Ukraine in the case of Russia, or in the recent time whether it is Venezuela as far as US policy is concerned. Now, obviously, Russia has warned of regional and global security consequences, because the impact of US strike on Iran will not be limited to this country alone. It will engulf the entire West Asia region. It will also test the alliances that US has with other countries, and there might also be some actions taken by the China, because China, Russia, Iran today, if we try to understand, are having a very strong partnership. They are also trying to prop up anti-Western or anti-American alliances such. Now, if we try to understand the warning that was given to the United States, Vladimir Putin also has stated in this manner that he is continuously engaged. He has been in touch with the presidents of Israel and the president of Iran, as well as he was also talking with the Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is the president of Turkey as such. So he has stated that any repeat aggression is unacceptable, as it has potential to destabilize the entire Middle East, and also the global security will be threatened as such. Now, if you try to understand, Trump also have seemed to be softening his stance. However, he earlier has urged protesters to continue protesting against the government, to take charge of the institutions, and he also claimed US help is on the way as such. Now, if we try to understand what are the options that US military has or US government has, so we know that Trump has mentioned very strong option. First, he tried to penalize Iran by putting up tariff barriers for all the partners, trade partners, 25% additional tariff. Not in that, we can say major sanctions have been imposed against Iranian government as well as the country itself. And not only that, he also said that detailed plan is something that is not disclosed, but as per the supporters of Trump, it was very clear that they might respond militarily as such. Iran obviously has defended by warning of retaliation. Iran gave a clear warning, and to some extent, it was also a personal warning to Trump, where Iranian leaders have stated that this time bullet would not miss, pointing out the assassination attempt carried out against Donald J. Trump during his election speeches. Also, they have stated that US base would be a fair target if America attacks Iran, targeting bases in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, as they have done earlier as such. And also they have claimed that their defense readiness is much more better as compared to the month of June, July, when US-Israel carried out a strike against Iran as such. Now, the biggest question that comes into mind, can Russia help Iran if US attacks? What are the military dimensions of this entire situation? So we know that as far as Russia, Iran is concerned, they enjoy what you can call as a strategic partnership along with the China triangle we have discussed. So there in the defense, in the strategic partnership, there always is a provision of cooperating in the field of defense. Now, it is not equal to providing support, military support in the case of the warfare, as we see in the case of NATO countries. Iran and Russia do not have such kind of provisions in their treaty, but cooperation, general broad-based cooperation agreement they have as per the recent agreement. Similarly, both countries have continuously collaborated when it comes to arms supply. We know that Russia has been engaged in its own war since last 4 years in Ukraine. It has been continuously burning up its military equipments and military, we can call as components, and there Iran has come to rescue interestingly. We have seen that Shahed drones has been supplied by Iran to Russia. Air defense system has been supplied by Russia to Iran as such. Plus radar support also was given to Iran in the earlier time. Not only that, the most important aspect of development is the sharing of intelligence. Russia has kept on sharing intelligence based on the data they have received from the satellite and surveillance, and the advantage of this was taken by Houthis rebels in Yemen as well, who are Iranian proxies, and they have been using Russian intelligence to target Western ships, Western aircraft. Now, the biggest question is that if really US attacks, what kind of response will we see from Russia? Now, many experts argue that Russia is not in position to carry out direct military intervention and can put up their forces against USA. The most possible response would be more of diplomatic in nature, and this can be in the form of UN Security Council. We know that Russia is one of the permanent members, 5 permanent members of UN. So there, any action taken at the UN front by US itself can be vetoed, and through which it can try to prop up support for the Iranian regime as such. Diplomatic pressure can be built up against US intervention, not only directly on US but also through its allies. And the impact of this actually we are seeing, because it is believed that the allies of US in the West Asia, such as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, their leaders were the one who tried to convince Trump to give Iran one more chance and not directly rely on military tactics, military intervention as such. So that is also interesting. Second, we can try to understand that Russia and China, they have enjoyed a very strong partnership, especially after the breakout of war in Ukraine. So they try to prop up a multipolar bloc. Iran also has been included as a member of BRICS. Plus, overall, Iran is also trying to involve itself in the global South-South cooperation as such, where India is also a member. Now, apart from that, it is also possible that the sanctions being imposed on Iran has developed this ecosystem where it is trying to, we can say, negate the consequences of sanctions. And one of the regions through which it is able to do so is by using the Russian territory, Russian market as such. So Russia, China, both of them can help Iran in softening the blow, if not completely this we can say remove the effects of sanction as such. And China has been continuously buying Iranian oil also to send forex reserves to Iran as such. So overall, we can understand that by looking at all this discussion, indirect support by Russia is more of a possibility rather than a declaration of open war itself. Now, what Russia is unlikely to do, and this we can understand by looking at the current situation and position of Russia itself. When Russia waged war in Ukraine, it was very confident that in a couple of weeks this war might be over, but now it has dragged and is currently has entered the 4th year as such. This has led to a severe repercussions on the Russian economy, Russian defenses, and this also coupled with the strong sanctions and the loosening grip on the oil and gas market. You can understand that neither militarily nor economically Russia would have capability to directly confront the United States of America, especially if US also receives support of its allies, especially NATO allies. So troop deployment seems to be out of question in the support of Iran. The other reason is also most of Russian troops themselves are engaged along the Ukrainian axis, and the troop, we talk about the troop number or personal problem Russia is also facing, and that is the reason why it is also hiring a lot of mercenaries from Africa. There has been report of North Korean soldiers being inducted in the Russian army who are joining war in Ukraine. So in this situation, Russia's involvement, military involvement in Iran is just we can say almost non-existent in nature. Second, Russia's economy and politics or military is not in a position to have a direct war with NATO aligned United States of America, and open battlefield involvement thus seems to be out of question. And that is why we've tried to understand about the media questions that were asked around this area. Earlier also, when US-Israel attacked Iran, question was directly raised to the Russian leadership that whether due to the treaty that they have signed, defense treaty they have signed with Iran, will Russia will be able to or will be propelled to help Iran come to the defense and security of Iran. The Russian leadership clearly has said that we do not have any such treaty as per the recent agreement as such. And the reason behind this is obviously the constraint. We try to understand biggest constraint on Russian support is Ukraine war burden. Economic sanctions was imposed and is being imposed on Russia as well. If we try to look at the global situation, North Korea, Iran, and after this, if we try to understand, the third most sanctioned country in the world is Russia itself. So it is facing a problem of its own sort. Military overstretch is something that they are not able to do so, and also they will try to avoid direct US classes, and they are largely trying to do a strategic balancing act where they try to support Iran in indirect and diplomatic manner as possible without having any possibility of military confrontation. So in short, the answer is no. Russia will not help Iran militarily. This is what the current geopolitical analysis says. Maximum it can do is give a diplomatic support to Iran, economic support to Iran, but that also by a final margin. So that's how we have to understand the situation. Now, again, if you look at this entire article that was published, one concept that was mentioned in the article is the strategic partnership. This is important from UPSC prelims perspective because such kind of conceptual questions, definition-based question, UPSC keeps asking. So what is a strategic partnership? We have discussed Russia and Iran enjoys a strategic partnership. India also has a strategic partnership with several countries, whether it is Russia, whether it is United States of America, Japan and all. So it basically refers to such kind of bilateral relationship between two nations where both countries agree to cooperate closely. And this cooperation is not restricted to a certain sector, rather it is cross-sectoral in nature. It is over multiple areas, across multiple areas. This can be in the field of defense, in the field of security, economic cooperation, technological cooperation, diplomatic cooperation, and even geopolitical cooperation. Culture cooperation also we can add here. And the reason behind such kind of strong bonhomie is with an objective of protecting the shared interest. Shared interest refer to such interest which is common to both the nations involved here, manage common threats in the neighborhood or at the global scale, and also overall both of them try to enhance their mutual influence regionally or globally as such. When such a relationship develop between two nations, it is called as a strategic partnership, and this concept you should keep in mind from prelims examination perspective. That's all for this particular video. If you like the video, please hit like button, share it with your friends, as a subscribe channel for more useful content. Thank you very much.